All right, SEO gurus, welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into some really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, we're going deep.
We're going deep. It's all about large language models, knowledge graphs,
And search engines.
of course, search engines, can't forget those. Now, I know you're all probably pretty familiar with those three things individually, but get ready to see them in a whole new light.
That's right. When you start connecting the dots between LLMs, knowledge graphs, and search engines, it opens up some seriously powerful insights for the future of SEO.
Okay, so just to get us all on the same page, let's quickly define our terms. So when we say LLMs, we're talking about things like ChatGPT.
Right. Artificial intelligence that can understand and generate text just like we do.
Like us humans.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's knowledge graphs, which are basically like giant databases of facts structured in a way that machines can actually understand and process.
That structure is key.
It is key. And then, of course, we have search engines, the gatekeepers to the entire online world.
Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, all the usual suspects.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But what's really fascinating is how these three things, LLMs, knowledge graphs, and search engines, are becoming more and more intertwined.
It's almost like this three-headed SEO dragon.
I like that analogy. A three-headed SEO dragon. And today, we're going to be unpacking how LLMs and knowledge graphs are changing the very core of how search engines work.
And trust me, it goes way deeper than just keywords and backlinks these days.
Oh, absolutely. And you know how sometimes you might search for something super specific?
Like what?
Like best graph databases for Python.
Yeah. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Well, that seemingly simple query is actually a perfect example of this shift we're talking about.
Right. And one of our sources, brain-inspired search engine assistant based on Knowledge Graph, talks about a system called DeveloperBot.
DeveloperBot?
Yeah. It's basically a brain-inspired search assistant that uses natural language processing, similar to how our brains would.
Oh, wow. So it actually understands the query, not just matches keywords.
Exactly. It breaks down the query and figures out what you're really looking for.
So in the case of our best graph databases for Python example, DeveloperBot would understand that you're not just looking for any old database.
Right. It knows you need one specifically designed for Python.
Got it. So what happens next?
Well, then DeveloperBot would tap into a knowledge graph to find potential answers. You know, specific databases that actually fit the bill.
Okay, so it's using the knowledge graph to find relevant information.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting. LLMs then step in to provide reasoning.
Reasoning.
Yeah, like connecting the dots.
Ah, so it's not just about direct relationships in the knowledge graph.
Right. It considers indirect relationships, too.
Give me an example.
Sure. So DeveloperBot might consider things like the popularity of certain graph databases within the Python community,
Makes sense.
or maybe their compatibility with other Python libraries.
Oh, interesting. So it's looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly. And it might even take into account things like user reviews and ratings.
Wow. So it's really trying to understand the intent behind the search.
Precisely. And then it gives you a truly helpful answer, not just a random list of links.
That makes a lot of sense.
Good.
But hold on a second. We all know that LLMs can sometimes hallucinate, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They can make stuff up.
It's a known issue. Knowledge graphs and LLMs, multi-hop question answering, and knowledge graphs. Large language models and hallucinations. An NLP perspective both talk about that.
Right. And if they're hallucinating, doesn't that kind of throw a wrench in the whole system? I mean, how can we trust the results if they're potentially based on made-up information?
That's a great question. But the fact that these models are even trying to reason, not just repeat stuff they've been trained on, is actually a huge leap forward.
I see your point.
It opens up a whole new world of possibilities for SEO, even though we have to be mindful of the hallucinations.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Incredibly powerful, but also potentially unreliable.
Right. And that's where knowledge graphs become even more important. They provide that grounding that LLMs need.
To keep them honest, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like they need that solid ground to stand on.
Okay, so LLMs are these powerful engines, but they need the right fuel.
And that fuel is knowledge, structured data.
Facts, facts, facts.
Facts. It's all about giving LLMs the right information to work with.
Okay, but let's get practical here. How can we, as SEO pros, actually use LLMs to our advantage?
Well, think of them like master puzzle solvers.
Puzzle solvers.
Yeah. They can take pieces of information from different places, different sources, and put them together in a way that makes sense.
Okay, I kind of see what you're saying.
So, for example, Large language models and knowledge graphs opportunities and challenges. That source mentions how LLMs are being used for things like knowledge graph completion.
Knowledge graph completion, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds complicated.
Not really. Imagine Google knows that Hotel A is in City B, right?
Okay, yes.
And they also know that City B is known for its amazing food scene.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
An LLM could potentially connect those dots, right?
Yeah.
And conclude that Hotel A is a great choice for foodies.
Even if the hotel website doesn't specifically say that.
Exactly.
So it's like LLMs are filling in the gaps, making these intuitive leaps that we as humans do naturally.
And that's where it gets really interesting for us, for SEO.
Because
It means we need to start thinking way beyond just optimizing for specific keywords.
right, it's about the bigger picture.
Exactly. We need to think about how our content actually fits into the larger knowledge ecosystem.
So instead of just targeting Hotel A, we should also be thinking about foodie travel, best restaurants in City B, and all those related concepts.
Exactly. You're getting it.
Okay, this is making a lot more sense now.
And there's another layer to this. LLMs are also being used for something called ontology alignment.
Ontology alignment.
It's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah, break that down for me.
It's basically connecting the dots between different knowledge domains.
Hey, I'm following so far.
So think about it this way, right? Your website might be perfectly optimized for your specific industry, let's say sustainable fashion.
Okay, sustainable fashion, got it.
But what if someone searching is interested in ethical sourcing, right? Or the environmental impact of textile production?
Yeah, those are definitely related.
They are related, but they might fall into different knowledge domains, you see.
So ontology alignment is like building bridges between those different islands of information.
Exactly.
I love that. Building bridges.
And that's where LLMs can really shine. They can help search engines understand how these seemingly disparate pieces of information are actually connected.
So it's like we're moving away from this world of siloed keywords to a world of interconnected concepts.
And LLMs are the ones building those connections.
Pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. And this is super important for multi-domain SEO.
What do you mean?
It's not enough to just be a big fish in a small pond anymore.
You need to be visible in the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. But we've talked about LLMs making things up, hallucinating.
Right, and that worries me.
It's a valid concern. How can we ensure that the information they're using is actually accurate, reliable? We don't want these LLM-powered search results to turn into a game of SEO telephone, right?
Definitely not.
This is where structured data comes in.
Our old friend structured data.
Exactly. Give us the facts. Enhancing large language models with knowledge graphs for fact-aware language modeling, that source really highlights this.
So
It emphasizes how knowledge graphs are like the bedrock.
the foundation.
Yeah, the solid foundation on which LLMs can actually build their understanding.
So the more accurate, the more complete our structured data is,
The better.
the more likely it is that LLMs will draw accurate conclusions.
Precisely. It's all about giving those LLMs the right information to work with, right from the start.
So it's like baking a cake. You need the right ingredients, the right recipe,
Got it. Structured data is like that recipe for LLMs.
the framework.
Exactly. It gives them the guidelines to create something truly valuable.
Okay, I'm really starting to see the potential here, but I'm also feeling a little, overwhelmed.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. Where do we even begin with all of this? What are some concrete steps we can take to actually harness all this power?
That's a great question. And that's exactly what we're going to be exploring in the next part of our deep dive.
Oh, perfect timing then.
We're going to take all of this theoretical knowledge and turn it into actionable strategies that you can start using right away.
I can't wait. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time unpacking these complex ideas, LLMs and knowledge graphs.
Yeah, we've gone pretty deep.
And it's clear they're going to completely change the SEO game.
They already are.
But let's get down to brass tacks here.
Let's do it.
How can we, as SEO pros, actually use this stuff?
Well, the biggest thing is we need to kind of shift our mindset, right?
How so?
Think about it. Search isn't just about matching keywords anymore.
I mean, it never really was.
True, but it's becoming even more about understanding, like really understanding the user's intent.
And then provide...
comprehensive, relevant answers. It's almost like Google's becoming this giant...
Oracle.
Exactly. Powered by LLMs and knowledge graphs.
So if Google's turning into this knowledge engine, this Oracle thing, how do we optimize for that? It feels like keywords are kind of...
Not useless.
evolving.
Definitely evolving.
Yeah, instead of focusing on individual words, we need to start thinking about concepts.
Okay, so broader topics.
Right, and entities. What are the core themes related to your business? And how do those topics connect to other things, other entities in the knowledge graph?
So like if I'm selling, I don't know, organic coffee,
Okay, yeah.
I wouldn't just target keywords like coffee or organic.
Right. You'd want to think about things like fair trade,
Oh, yeah.
sustainability, coffee origins, even specific regions.
Like Ethiopian Yirgacheffe.
Exactly. It's about painting this complete picture for those search engines.
Showing them you get it.
Yeah, that you understand the nuances.
And how your product fits into the whole ecosystem.
You got it. It's like building a constellation.
Yes. Of related terms and concepts around your core offerings.
I like that, a constellation.
And that brings us to content strategy, right?
Because your content needs to feed this knowledge graph.
It's not just about writing blog posts crammed with keywords.
Yeah, got to go deeper than that.
Right. It's about creating informative content that really answers questions, provides insights.
Adds value.
Yes. It has to actually add to the knowledge base, not just try to, like,
Trick the system.
game the system.
Right, and don't forget about the
Nice.
non-text stuff.
Super important.
Images, videos.
Definitely. And structured data,
Schema.org, my best friend.
your best friend. The more you can structure that content, the easier it is for the search engines to make sense of it.
To use it, it's like giving them a map.
Exactly. And that knowledge graphs methodology, tools, and selected use cases source, it has this great example with hotel data.
Hotel data, okay?
Yeah, like think about all the info you see on a hotel website.
Game address,
Geo-coordinates, star rating, price range,
amenities, URLs.
reviews, the whole 9 yards.
And if that's all properly structured,
The search engines can build a really rich understanding of that hotel,
they get the full picture.
but it goes even further than that beyond your own website.
How so?
You've got these massive knowledge graphs like Wikidata and NELL.
I've heard of Wikidata.
Yeah, they pull info from all over the web, not just your little corner of the internet.
So it's like search engines are these giant collaborative research projects.
That's a great way to put it. They're constantly piecing together information from millions of different places.
Which is why building authority.
Super important, more than ever.
Yeah, you got to be seen as a trusted source.
Right. And how do you do that? You create high-quality content,
Well-researched,
cited, you get involved in industry discussions, you build those relationships.
you become a thought leader.
Exactly. A go-to expert in your niche.
But also, don't neglect
Oh, right.
the technical SEO stuff.
It's the foundation.
Yeah, website speed, mobile friendliness.
All that good stuff.
Because even with all these fancy LLMs and knowledge graphs,
Your site's a mess.
yeah, it's not going to matter.
Exactly. So to wrap this all up, the SEO landscape is changing rapidly.
It always is.
It does. But the SEOs who really embrace these new technologies, who adapt their strategies, those are the ones who are going to thrive.
It's exciting. A little scary,
Maybe a little bit.
but exciting.
The future of search is in the hands of those who understand this power of knowledge.
Well, that was an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've learned a ton.
Me too.
I hope our listeners are feeling the same way.
I hope so.
Remember, everyone, this is just the beginning.
The tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. LLMs and knowledge graphs are still in their early stages. Who knows what the future holds?
Endless possibilities.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with SEO.
Couldn't have said it better myself.